The moment those words left my mouth, the room fell into a stunned silence, as if someone had pulled the plug on all the laughter. My wife's brother, Darren, looked like he'd swallowed a mouthful of ash. His smirk faltered, replaced by a twitching confusion. Across the table, my wife, Emily, shifted uncomfortably in her seat, trying to salvage the dinner that had taken a sharp turn. But I was done saving face for people who didn't respect me. Darren had always been a leech, living on handouts and excuses, ducking real responsibility while boasting about imaginary ventures. I tolerated him for Emily's sake, for the harmony of the family, for the image of the loyal husband who put up with everything. But not anymore. Not after what I'd found out. Emily tried to recover, forcing a chuckle. "He's joking, right?" she asked, glancing around the table, seeking support in the eyes of her parents, her siblings, anyone. But I wasn't joking. I hadn't smiled in weeks. I leaned forward, meeting Darren's eyes. "You might want to figure out where your next rent check is coming from, because starting tomorrow, your free ride ends." He opened his mouth to speak, but I cut him off. "I was the one covering your debts behind the scenes, Darren. Every time you borrowed from Emily, it was me writing the check. Every time you couldn't make rent, it was me talking to the landlord. But not anymore." Emily's mother gasped. Her father cleared his throat. The room was no longer warm with laughter. It was shrinking with tension. Emily whispered, "What are you doing?" I turned to her, and for the first time in years, I didn't soften my gaze. Telling the truth. What I didn't say was what I'd found on her phone 3 nights ago. I hadn't even planned to look. It was just sitting there, screen glowing. But something about the way she'd been lately, the forced cheerfulness, the longer showers, the sudden lock on her screen, had gnawed at me. I told myself I was being paranoid, that I had no reason to doubt her. But I opened the messages anyway. And there it was, a thread of text between her and someone saved under the name Melissa. Sweet nothings, times and places, body parts described in graphic detail that no best friend would ever need to know about. My stomach sank. My throat went dry. But the worst part wasn't betrayal. It was a familiarity in the tone. I knew the rhythm, the arrogance, the voice behind the words. It was Darren. I stared at the messages for over an hour, not knowing how to feel. There was no denying it. The nicknames, the private jokes they thought were clever. One message from him read, "He's so pathetic, M. If he only knew what you scream in my ear when we're together." My hands trembled, but I felt nothing. Not anger, not sadness, just a deep, cold silence settling inside me. That night, I didn't confront her. I kissed her on the cheek like nothing had changed. But I started counting down the hours. And now, here we were. Darren still looking dumbfounded. Emily staring at me, her smile dead, her voice barely a whisper. "Can we talk?" "Alone." I rose from the table. "Of course. Let's." We walked into the kitchen. She closed the door behind us. "What the hell are you doing? Are you trying to ruin my family?" "No, Emily," I said, finally allowing my voice to shake with emotion. "You and Darren already did that." Her face went white. I saw the messages. 3 nights ago. I've been sleeping next to a stranger since then. She stumbled back as if my words hit her physically. It was a mistake. A mistake? That happened more than once. That had names for your secret meetups. That had you mocking me behind my back. She began to cry, but I didn't move to comfort her. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she said. "You didn't mean to get caught." I corrected. "There's a difference." "I love you, I do," she insisted, desperate now. "No, you love what I did for you. You love the stability I gave you, the image, but you didn't love me." I paused. "Not enough to keep your hands off your own brother." That last line cracked the air like a whip. Her tears turned to shock. "What did you just say?" I stared at her, cold and unflinching. "Oh, don't act surprised. You knew what I meant. You thought changing his contact name would fool me. But you forgot who pays for phone, who sees the records. You left a trail a mile long." She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. I didn't wait. I turned and walked back into the dining room, where her family sat in awkward silence. The moment they saw my face, they knew something had shifted beyond repair. I looked at Darren. You have 2 days to get out of the condo. After that, I'll have the locks changed. He sneered again, but this time it was hollow. You think you're better than me? No, I said, with the calm of someone who had finally accepted the truth. I know I am. Then I looked at the others. You can all believe what you want, but I'm done pretending. I gave everything to this family, to Emily, and all I got in return was betrayal. So consider this dinner my goodbye. As I walked out the front door, I heard Emily calling my name. I didn't turn around. Not once. Outside, the air was cooler, clearer. For the first time in years, I felt something like freedom. That night, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just drove, the lights blurring past me on the highway. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew one thing for certain. I would never be the useless one again, because now I was free.